What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode in the We Guard Cleveland podcast with me, your host, Casey Howard. Today we are going to go over all of the rookies and see if they will have a case of the second-year slumps. We are going to go over all 18 players that debuted last year for Cleveland. First off is Hunter Gaddis. Yes, Gaddis will have the second-year slumps. He only had one start with Cleveland. He looked pretty awful. Didn't do good in AAA the rest of the year after that, so I don't think he's going to have any potential. So Hunter Gaddis will have a case of the second-year slumps. Xavier Curry. Yes, he had 3 starts with Cleveland, and he looked decent in them. And he had flashes of potential. But I think he needs a couple more years in the minor leagues before he can becomes an actual solid pitcher. So this year, I don't think he will do as good as he did last year. Tanner Tully, no. Tanner Tully will not have the second-year slumps. Tully was brought up in the middle of the year last year as a relief pitcher. He only pitched a few times. In those times, he did okay, but he did show flashes of potential. I think he's actually going to have a good year this year. I don't know if that will be with Cleveland. I don't know if he's on Cleveland or not still, but I think he will have a good year. Next is Kirk McCarthy. Yes, Kirk McCarthy will have a down year this year, I think. Kirk was up and down at different times last year. They tried him as a starting pitcher, a middle relief pitcher, and a long relief pitcher. And the only one that seemed to work out is a long relief pitcher. He didn't show that many flashes to be. I think he got a little lucky. He didn't have many strikeouts. I didn't think his stuff was awesome. I think this year he might have a rougher year than last year. So I think he will have the second-year slumps. Alex Call, yes, he will have the second-year slumps, I think. The Guardians traded him to the Washington Nationals at the trade deadline of last season, and he played decent with them for the second half of the year. However, I do not think this will be the same story in 2023, since Call is in a Nationals organization, which I do not think they have a good organization. So I do not think they will develop him properly, and I think he will have a rougher year this year than he did last year. So he will have the second-year slumps. Next is Brian Lavastida. Yes, he will have a case of the second-year slumps. He really struggled in his 3 weeks with the team at the beginning of the season. He was there when Luke Miley was injured. He only had 1 hit and 12 at-bats. Was pretty disappointing. And then he was injured pretty much the rest of the season with a hamstring injury. I don't even know if he's fully recovered from that. So I think Lavastida will have another down year in 2023. Gabriel Arias, yes, he will have a case of the second-year slumps. He was probably the most streaky player and had the most opportunities out of anybody. They brought him up a bunch of times throughout the year. Most of the time he didn't look good. But on the very last week of the season and the first round of the playoffs, he did look very good. But overall in the season, I did not think he looked too great. He could play anywhere on the infield, so that helps. But I do think he's going to have a down year this year. I don't think those flashes of potential will be ready yet. He will have potential in the long run, I think. But I think next year he will have a case of the second-year slumps. Next is Connor Pilkington. No, I do not think he will have the second-year slumps. Pilkington looked good when Aaron Savali and Zach Plesac were injured. He took over and got in the rotation, and he looked pretty solid. And I think he could be the number 4 pitcher in our rotation by the end of the year if Zach Plesac and Aaron Savali do not perform. Next is Richie Palacios. No, Richie Palacios will not have the second-year slumps. Palacios was a pinch hitter in the 9th inning for our team this year. He helped us in a lot of comeback wins, and I think he will play the same role next year, except he might even do even better. I do not think he will have the second-year slumps, and I think he will have a great year in 2023. Next is Tyler Freeman. No, Tyler Freeman will not have the second-year slumps. He is actually a lot like Gabriel Arias, except he's more of a consistent hitter, and that's why I think he will be the utility infielder on our team in 2023, and I think he will do a good job at that. Next is Cody Morris. Cody Morris was injured for the first half of the season, but in the second half of the season, he did good as a relief pitcher and as a starting pitcher at times. He showed many flashes of potential. I do not think he will have a down year. And I think he could be the fifth man in our rotation regularly by the end of the year. He might start out in the minor leagues or in the bullpen, but I think he will make his way to our number 5 starter in the rotation as long if Zach Plesac and Aaron Savali struggle again. Oscar Gonzalez. So, yes, I do think he will have a case of the second-year slumps, but I'm not going to go into why because I have a whole video on that which should come out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I do think he'll have the slumps, but I'm not going to go into details. Next is Nolan Jones. No, Jones will not have the second-year slumps. Jones was traded to the Colorado Rockies this offseason. Some people may be like, well, they're not as good of an organization as the Guardians, so why don't you think he'll struggle? But the reason is he'll be playing his natural position, third base, with Colorado, while with Cleveland he was playing right field, which was not his natural position. And I think he'll hit higher in the order there, which will also help him. I think he'll contribute. I think he will have a very, very good year with them. So, no, he will not have the second-year slumps. Steven Kwan. No, he will not have the second-year slumps. Steven Kwan is so good. People don't even realize how good he is. I don't think he will have a down year in his career. And this year, he definitely won't either, especially with the new rules. He is a very good contact hitter. He doesn't strike out much. He's a good 2-strike hitter. He has a lot of walks, and he gets on base. Good fielder, and he's fast. I don't think a guy like that we've seen in a long time, and I think he's going to have an amazing career as well as an amazing second year in 2023. Next is Will Benson. Yes, I do think he will have a down year this year. Will Benson did not look good last year either. He was a very good outfielder in the field and a base runner last year, but he could not get the bat on the ball. I don't think he'll be able to hit good enough to stay on the team. So, I don't think he'll be able to hit again this year either. Last year he only hit like 160. So, I think he'll do just about that this year, and I don't think that's good enough. So, I guess, yes, he will have a case of the second-year slumps. Next is Bo Naylor. Yes, I do think he'll have a case of the second-year slumps. Last year, he was 0 for 8 with the MLB team. I don't think he'll get much MLB action this year. I know he's competing for the number 2 catcher spot, but I don't think he's a good enough fielding catcher yet. I think he needs to develop that aspect of his game a little more. He's got a good arm at throwing runners out, but I wish he would have less pass balls or make more defensive plays. He doesn't have many pass balls, but save more wild pitches, I should say. And I just don't think he's ready yet, so I think he's going to have a struggle this year. I think 2024 will be the year for him, so I do have hope for him, but I don't think this year is the year. Will Brennan. No, he will not have a case of the second-year slumps. Will Brennan looked really good as an outfielder at the last couple weeks of the season. They brought him up. He looked great. He looked great in the postseason. I think he has a lot of potential and could start in the outfield when one of the outfielders is DHing. So that is our video today. Please like and subscribe. If you want any other videos, put it in the comments. I'm not sure if you're allowed to comment or not, but if you aren't, let me know so I don't ask in the future. But for now, Casey is out.